for that. Let's get some more now on this and other political issues of the day. Joining us in our strategy session, our CNN political analyst and Democratic strategist Paul Begala, and Terry Jeffrey, the editor-at-large at Human Events. Dirty tricks or just a lucky break for a journalist?
Well, both. But congratulations to Ben Smith of the New York Daily News who got this. But I was troubled by what the Giuliani camp said to Mary Snow. They said, well, it was in our luggage that got lost. Look, a big part of Rudy's appeal is he's going to be good on security. Well, if he can't even handle his own documents, you know, then that kind of undermines his whole point. But welcome to the 2008 presidential campaign. Everything will get out. Everything. It will be like a proctoscopic exam without the tender, loving care of the doctor. Get ready, Rudy, and everybody else.
Well, what do you think, Terry?
Well, it makes me wonder whether Giuliani's about to launch a campaign that's of, by, and for political consultants. In other words, he has the ability to go out and raise money from major interests on the East and West Coast who basically have views that are alien to the conservative grassroots. Much of that money, if he raises it, is going to end up in the fat pockets of political consultants in this town. And at the end of the game, Rudy might very well fizzle before the Iowa caucuses for the very reasons outlined in material put out by his own political consultants. Who are the winners? The people who get the money, the political consultants.
I suspect he's not necessarily your candidate, Rudy Giuliani.
No, he's not. But you know what, Wolf? You know, I don't believe there is a large body of political professionals, even in the Republican Party, who share his extreme views on abortion.
Why among registered Republicans? In all of the recent polls, registered Republicans, including our two most recent polls, he comes out atop that list, ahead by 3 or 4 points of John McCain.
It's a good question. I think the reason is because the image that is dominant in the public mind right now of Rudy Giuliani is the man who behaved so magnificently in the wake of the September 11th, 2001 attacks. And also someone who took a New York City when he became mayor that was crime-ridden and filthy and cleaned up the crime and cleaned up the filth. What Republican voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Arizona, places like that don't know yet is how extreme his views are on the social issues, how weak he is on immigration. He will be defined in a campaign, I believe, in a way that will not attract a majority Republican primary voters.
You're a Democrat, but what do you think?
I think Terry has a much better bead on social conservatives than I do. But what's also instructive in both the Daily News report and in Mary Snow's report here on CNN is that the Giuliani camp seems to be more concerned about Giuliani Inc., his business practices, rather than his personal life or his position on social issues. And that could be a big problem because, as Mary pointed out, he was in business with Bernard Kerik, the now disgraced former police commissioner of New York City. There might be a lot there. That sort of piques my interest as a Democrat and an analyst. I'd like journalists to take a look at Giuliani Inc. and see why is Rudy so worried that his business practices could be something that could sink a presidential
Well, you know, another angle on that is I think a good presidential campaign, a candidate will have people who are dedicated and loyal to him, who basically share his vision. George Bush had Karl Rove and Karen Hughes. Bill Clinton had Paul Begala and James Carville. Where are those people for Rudy Giuliani who share his vision, who are loyal to him, who have the political smarts to go out and manage a campaign? It's not apparent from this memo he has those kind of people around him.
Well, let's shift gears briefly. Thursday, big day for the Democrats. They take over the House. They take over the Senate. They've got a game plan, specifically Nancy Pelosi, the new Speaker in the House. What do you think of this game plan? We heard Dana Bash unveil it here just a little while ago.
It's great. So far, so good. The first thing they're going to do is ethics. And this was a big debate behind closed doors within the Democratic Party. Believe me, I'm sorry to say, there's still some Democrats who believe in pretty good government and didn't want real reform. But Pelosi pushed this through. A couple of other top leadership Democrats wanted this, Harry Reid in the Senate. So the fact that they're starting out with congressional reform, where I think even most Republicans would say things have gotten badly off track, Duke Cunningham and Mark Foley and all the scandals, it's a very good thing. I think that Nancy Pelosi especially and Harry Reid on the Senate side have managed this transition extraordinarily well, where they have had great opportunity to make mistakes but no real power to deliver yet. They get that gavel this week and they'll be able to deliver. So they start out in a very strong position.
It looks like what they're going to try to do on the House side, as the majority, they're going to try to roll over the Republicans the way the Republicans used to roll over the minority Democrats.
You know, they're definitely going to try and do that in the House, but at the same time, I think Nancy Pelosi realizes they have a honeymoon that could be short if they don't pass real legislation. She understands that the Republicans have more power in the Senate, and she's going to need signatures from President Bush. I think you're actually going to see cooperation between the Bush White House and Nancy Pelosi get things done. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea because a lot of the public policies they're going to pursue I oppose. But I think you're going to see a lot more comity between Pelosi and the White House than people might expect.
And this notion that among the Democrats now, there's a pretty wide gap over there between the very liberal Democrats and the much more conservative Democrats, and there could be friction within the Democratic Party itself.
There could be, and there generally has been. But I do think these 12 years in the wilderness have been cleansing of some of the animosity within the party. We'll be watching for that as a Democrat. And I get along with everybody, and I've good friends with some of the very conservatives and some of the very liberals. And so far, they understand they have to get together and get things done. And Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid have done a good job of making sure. Harry Reid is probably more conservative than most Democrats in the Senate. Nancy probably more liberal than most Democrats in the House. They have reached across and given key committee assignments to people who have very different views from them. Very smart move.
We'll watch it all together unfold. We'll have a lot of coverage of that here on Thursday, guys. Thanks very much, Paul and Terry. And coming up next,